And a warm welcome to yet another beautiful episode of your favorite show, Money and Technology. You know how we do it when we come like this. We are fully loaded to give you the latest happening, the latest information in the world of technology. Remember last edition, we were on the show with a security expert. I'm talking about cybersecurity experts, and he is no other person than Ibrahim Yusuf. And we spoke extensively on the need for us to be proactive, to take preventive measures against any external forces that could come. And we must not forget also that most of the things that we do, hardly could any business of nowadays thrive without internet. So it is very important that we pick it from where we stopped last time. Without further ado, let's join Yusuf Ibrahim again for yet another fascinating, another scintillating edition of Money and Technology. All right, Yusuf, do you have any further information on this subject matter with regards to cybersecurity?
It's very easy. Do not download something that you did not go and we're looking for. So if someone offers you something, go ahead and download. It will help you. Don't. If you did not go out of your way to download, don't download it just because it was being offered. So that's rule number one. Rule number two, if you're not really looking for something to click on, don't click on it because someone said you will win something. That's number two. Essentially, if someone wants you to install something that you really not get out of your way to install it, don't install it. Simple as that. And I think if you really just practice those three rules, you will save yourself a lot, essentially. Now, coming to your question, of course, if it pops up something and it prevents, it's a good thing. It's a warning sign. So for you to wake up and actually look at what is warning you about, and be careful. Don't be a happy clicker. We call it happy clickers. People who just basically click on right, left, and center to see if something would actually happen. No. If you do not really read, you might put yourself in hot water in such a way it might be too late. So don't actually click on when you have a warning. Read, take a step back, and see if it actually makes sense. If you don't understand, ask someone who can actually might help you. Now, of course, if you were going to look for it, if you were going to gone out of your way to download it, if you were going to click on it because you were following a sort of an article where you really started to actually initiate it yourself, that's a different rule altogether. But if something is preventing you and is helping you, that's actually a good start. But even before that, if you just really rewind, we all use devices. Of course, you said we all use machines that we depend on. What we really need to do is to make sure that we give the responsibility it demands from us. So that device needs to be protected, right? So when you go and, before you start the engine of your car, you have to put the seatbelt. Exactly. If you're going to go on a fast motorbike, you've got to put the helmet because the consequences dictates
that safety measures.
Exactly, safety measures. But how many of us would actually think that way on the cyber world just because it's not physical, it's not tangible? So really you have to now take care of this device and protect the same way that you would have protected it physically, so that you don't leave it, you don't get happen it to actually be taken away from. Make sure the data itself, because the physical device and the material that you are using can be recovered, but unfortunately the data is almost, for some of us, especially enterprise level, is it's not quantifiable. There's no monetary term when things actually go wrong. So essentially put something preventative that can help the machine, download an anti-malware, install antiviruses. There's a lot of free stuff that you can actually do it. Get in touch with us. We'll advise you how actually we can help you with that. If you are an enterprise, you should be part of your policy to make sure your devices are absolutely protected to the level of your risk, essentially, because it's all about mitigation. So, but on a layman's term, on a normal day-to-day individual, make sure that you actually practice safety and make sure that you become knowledgeable and read about it, because cybersecurity is just a fact of life today. And unfortunately, everything that we have is sort of taken to the to the cyber world, and we need to take care of those devices and those locations and storages which are looking after those invaluable data that we hold dear to us. Yeah. So that's another word I do run in my day-to-day, what is called threat hunting. So I should be able to explain that. So offensive is not so much as a sort of a threat hunting. This might be now going to a bit more technical, which I think we will probably going to not go too deep into it. Probably what we do is we can assign a whole show to really go a bit more technical for those who are technically minded, that they can actually make sense of it and benefit from the details. And I appreciate this is not for everyone, to be quite honest, so far what we'll be discussing, but I think it's something that is for everyone, whether you like it or not. Now, coming back to obviously offensive, defensive, that's what we actually went through. When it comes to the word threat hunting, it's a word that is actually used a lot. Again, threat hunting, essentially, if you can just really read the two word, you're hunting for a threat inside your organizations, right? So organizations basically are two. So companies are either aware of what is happening in their environment, or they are not, right? For whatever reason. It could be because of lack of skills, lack of budget, or because they
lack of interest.
Or lack of interest, because they're really just running after the profit. And unfortunately, time and again, the reality is you might lose that profit in one fell swoop if you don't do the little thing that helps you towards that journey. So those organizations are those two: those who know what is happening and those who do not, or for whatever reason, as we actually alluded to. Now, reality dictates is only a matter of when, not an if, because big or large, you can really go anywhere and read yourself. I don't need to point you to anywhere. Things might actually go wrong. Risk is there. It's just about mitigation. So it will happen, but how much can you actually mitigate? Now, threat hunting is actually taking sort of a offensive approach and say, I'm not really complacent. I'm not going to say I'm secure, right? I can't say, everything will be hunky-dory and it's fine. I'm going to actually go around the bushes and find out if there's anything lurking behind the bushes, turn around the knobs and open the doors of the closet and see if there's any threat hiding behind, which I might not actually pay too much attention in the past. That's also essentially threat hunting. So when we are helping organizations, we actually tell them, listen, you have all your tool sets, you deploy all the technologies that you have acknowledged that it will meet the risk level that you need to achieve. But let's now see if those technology have been tuned, have been set up, have been customized to your environment, and we will time and again prove them to make sure that they actually aware something that might not be there, right? So maybe sometimes they will say, hang on, this is not meant to be this way, and then we adjust the tools and they are better protected. And that activity is called threat hunting. So don't be complacent. Don't wait until the last minute. And a lot of organizations in the wider world are actually alerted by external parties to tell them, hey, did you know that you are sending viruses from your company email server? And they get blacklisted and their server cannot send emails, and they end up with 3 or 4 days struggle because they cannot send it, because a lot of what we call real-time blacklist servers have blacklisted them because of that reason, and it's true. So before those things happened, we normally advise them, let's have a look and do some exercise and see if we can enhance some stuff that might not be visible to you and to the tools, and actually question rather than just be complacent. And that's really what the threat hunting is doing. Activities. The organizations who will pretty much anyone who really cares about their data, if you really just, the boards get together in a room today and bring the chief technology officer and the chief information officer to the table and say, what are our assets, right? A, B, C, right? Okay, so if you take A and B out of our assets, what is our continuity planning? If they can be comfortable with the answer, maybe they don't need offensive. But if they are not comfortable with the answer that might actually come out of those questions, then they may actually need to do some offensive activities so that they can test, right? So in the sense of cybersecurity, it's called penetration testing. See, you can actually penetrate the organization, or pen testing, as it's actually acronym known, and carry out those activities. So we are seeing more and more organizations' data being exposed. You know, it's a deluge, especially the last just 2 months, really, May and June so far, and probably April. We see a lot of activities, a lot of issues of data breach and attacks. And if organizations want to actually prevent those, and they merit and their risk level is to a level where they cannot really survive, and I think offensive security is better for them by either automating them or by actually doing physically by penetration testers and organizations who actually can really probe the tools and the gates that they built for so many years. If it really pays dividend, those are the organizations that would normally be opting on. For that. I appreciate it's not for everyone, and not everyone will have the budget to actually mount that kind of activities. But you know, it's all about, as I say, I'll go back to that word. It's all about mitigation to really make sure the businesses that you are conducting can survive should the inevitable happen. But a lot of organizations, you know, we don't have to really be doom and gloomy. A lot of organizations have a lot of tools, and they have a lot of technologies in place. It's plentiful. Maybe what is lacking is really either interest or oversight or skills, and that needs to be just recalibrated, and they will be fine. So you need to pay attention what you also have, and not always just run after the newest and the shiniest thing, just thinking that will be the one that is going to protect me. No, I think you need to also look back what you already have and make use of the tool set that you have, and then assess what you essentially invested already without too much waste, to see where you can actually bring your level of security up to, and then augment what is actually necessary and needed, whether that is offensive or whether that is not offensive. Then time will tell. But essentially, if you're lacking the skills and really the knowledge, then you call on an organization who might actually give you some guidance and probe you to the different direction, and then you're set to go to actually do the business that you're actually meant to do. I'm actually more interested on really helping individuals as well as organizations as to day job. And what I actually did is I put up a blog. The website is yusufonsecurity.com. So Yusuf is YUSUF on security.com in one word, and you will go there. You'll actually be able to find once you Google down the top of the list. Now that's a platform, that's a blog that I normally write on a regular basis, just to really help individuals and organizations at large to understand and appreciate the need for security. And it's something that I've been working on for a number of years now, and you will find a lot of resources. So that's one part of it. The other part is the podcast. There is a podcast that you will see on the yusufonsecurity.com/podcast, or you can actually just subscribe to different channels of all the podcast apps that you can think of, whether it's Apple or Android, that you can be able to subscribe and listen regularly. Now, that second part is really just for those people who are not ready to read or don't have time to read, who can actually just do their course, or maybe doing something, or walking or jogging or traveling, are able to actually put on, it's like 25 minutes, 30 minutes, not longer than that, on a weekly basis, where I talk about two things. I talk about the current news on the podcast at the beginning of the podcast for about 5-10 minutes, just to bring people up to speed of what has actually been happening in the last 1 week. And then in the meat of the show is basically I pick up a topic where I then go deeper into exactly what we are talking about today on the channel, so that people can actually listen to it and appreciate, and can rewind and re-listen and share and actually really benefit other people. And that's what I actually normally try to help. It's all about giving back to the community. It's all about really educating individual, whether you are young or whether you are old. I think cybersecurity is part of our lives, so that people actually, are able to understand in layman's terms, I understand some of the wordings and some of the vocabulary that we are throwing around today, a little bit more on the technical side, but don't worry, you'll get used to it. And we try to actually demystify as much as possible. If anything, go have a look and listen to that. And I will try to stay as much as possible away from the of the jargon. I'm not a big fan of big jargons, because if anything else, if you listen to my discussion and my talk and you don't understand what I'm talking about, then essentially I failed to portray the message. So, but if you conversely listen and understand what I said, then that's essentially a good time that you invested. So I try to do that on the podcast. And for those of you who wants to read more, have a look at yusufonsecurity.com, or listen to the podcast on /podcast. So that's essentially what the platform is doing, and what the platform is actually helping organizations to assist with people. In the cyber world, you have to find a way of relaxing. But essentially, I think if you enjoy really what you're doing, I think it's you find a relaxing way. There's a lot of people who relax in different ways, and I think when you're helping people, when you're trying to explain and pass on the knowledge rather than sitting on it, in a way you find relaxing, you find joy. But you have to obviously have, of course, some time for the family, some time for yourself, and that's a responsibility that your body should have over you. And I find somewhere, and I find some time to actually sort of unwind and back off from the technology, because otherwise it will consume you. So not to worry, I try to squeeze time for myself here and there, but by and large, I try to actually help.
All right, thank you so very much. This is where we draw the curtain on today's edition of Money and Technology. So much to talk about in the world of cybersecurity. Don't forget, there is a need for you to take an offensive, cyber security and preventive, defensive and offensive threats are there for you to just master. And if you don't want your business to be attacked from within or from without or from any external threat, you've got to hire someone who is an expert in this field to guard against some of the things, some of the files that you wouldn't like to lose any moment from. What would happen to your business if you close down for just a week? If you don't have any answer for this, then it is very important that you protect all your properties. Protect, your information, if you don't want to lose anything. All right, until next time that will come your way, we're still going to have that grace of meeting Yusuf Ibrahim again on the particular matter, on the same topic or another. Thank you very much once again. This is where we draw the curtain. Bye for now. My name remains Ajara Batijani.